WGN-TV Sports presents White Sox Baseball on Channel 9.
The 1990 baseball season is arriving fashionably late. And here in Chicago, it's coming in on historical proportions. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jim Durham with Tom Pashorek, and welcome to White Sox Baseball on Channel 9. An historic day here on the south side of Chicago. This is the final home opener for the White Sox to be played in Comiskey Park. Next year at this time, the White Sox will be across the street in the new stadium. And like the construction over there, Tom, the construction of this ball club is running along almost in the same pace.
Yeah, the White Sox have made a commitment to youth and development from their own farm system, Jim, and we're going to see that today. It's really epitomized in the youth that the White Sox have brought north with them. 11 of the guys on the team right now are 25 years old or less, and 9 of them are direct products of the White Sox farm system.
The one area of the game where the White Sox really needed to make an improvement over last year was defensively. And I can't help but think, Tom, that they've added some speed in the outfield, and that's got to be a real plus.
Well, yeah, and Sammy Sosa and Lance Johnson are both in the lineup. Now, these are the guys that Jeff Torborg is really counting on to add speed to give the White Sox the ability to manufacture some runs this year, which they weren't able to do last year.
Robin Ventura is the third baseman of the future, and the future is now, evidently.
Well, obviously so. Robin Ventura had a tremendous spring defensively. Didn't hit as well as he can, but he will eventually.
The Milwaukee Brewers are the opposition today, opening day. They've got some problems in the infield. They've got some key injuries.
Well, Paul Molitor is the key to that ball club, along with Robin Yount. He's going to be out for about a month, and if you want to be the White Sox, this is the time you want to play the Brewers right now.
We'll be back to Comiskey Park, and we'll have the Milwaukee batting order and set the White Sox defensively. White Sox baseball on Channel 9. The White Sox are brought to you by LOWENBRAU Light. Introducing 98-calorie LOWENBRAU Light, the one beer with a strong character. By the good guys at Norwood Park Dodge of Chicago, where the spirit always shows. The Chicago Tribune. Get in the game. Pick up a Trib. Coca-Cola Classic. Can't beat the real thing. True Value Hardware. For quality selection and personal attention, make True Value Hardware your store of first choice. By Phillips 66 Super Clean Premium Unleaded Gasoline. Pump up to the performance power from Phillips 66. By Hyundai. We make cars that make sense. And by Southwest Airlines, offering everyday low fares and convenient flights to cities all over the West, Midwest, and South. The fans' patience, which has been tested all spring, is being tested again here in Chicago, this time by the weatherman, as rain is holding up the start of opening day at Comiskey Park. This rain began to fall a little over a half hour ago. It is raining as hard now as it has during the past half hour. For a few moments, it was a light drizzle, and there was some thought that maybe they would be able to remove the tarp and get this game underway. Well, Tom, it's a shame that we didn't play this about 11 o'clock this morning because the weather was ideal at 11 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, you know, Jim, this baseball season is full of firsts, and you might as well get that first rain delay out of the way quickly. There's Barry Jones on the bench. I'm sure, see, all the players are really anxious to get things going because emotionally they're probably at their all-time high right now, especially with the young players that the White Sox have brought north with them.
And a good crowd has gathered at Comiskey Park. There was thought that if the weather would have held, that a sellout would have been on hand for this game. Over 40,000. And the fans who are here, of course, have moved under cover in the lower and upper decks. Well, Channel 9 has chronicled a lot of White Sox history down through the years. The last time Channel 9 aired a White Sox home opener was in 1966, and the White Sox won in extra innings against the Los Angeles Angels. 3-2 was the score that day. Late inning hero for the White Sox was Tom McGraw. And what I remember on that day was White Sox catcher John Romano being knocked out on a backswing of Jose Cardenal.
Well, being a catcher has always been a tough occupation, and John Romano, I'm sure will remember that day as well as anybody.
But of course, this too is an historic day, as this is the beginning of the end for Comiskey Park. The final season to be played here in this 80-year-old ballpark. Next year at this time, of course, they will be across the street in the new Comiskey Park, which a few weeks ago they poured the final bit of concrete for. And that structure rises even higher than this stadium over on the 35th Street side. The White Sox and Brewers waiting to get this game underway. As Tom mentioned earlier, the White Sox really anxious to play Milwaukee early in the season because of the injuries they have, and because last year the White Sox dominated Milwaukee in the season series.
Yeah, they really did. The White Sox played extremely well against the Brewers. Of course, they played better against the Eastern Division as a whole. Now, Milwaukee certainly has that payback in mind. They want to get back at the White Sox because they probably feel like the Sox knocked them out of pennant contention in the American League East, because they finished the season with a .500 record and could have been in there to the last day because nobody in the East was really doing that well. In the offseason, they acquired this guy right there, Dave Parker, who should be a catalyst to this ball club, probably pick up a lot of the slack that they're losing because of the loss of Paul Molitor, which we mentioned earlier. Dave Parker's an extremely experienced veteran who's still an outstanding hitter.
And that's what they were looking for, was some left-handed punch.
Yeah, exactly. They've been a right-handed dominant team for so many years that they needed a lefty to come up there and do some hitting. Now, when you play the Brewers, you really want to stack your right-handed pitchers against them because they're a predominantly right-handed lineup, and that starts with Paul Molitor and Robin Yount, their two best players.
You know, Tom, a lot of people have said, well, the White Sox, who had the bad year last year and didn't make the big move in the offseason, they made their big move during last season when they made the Baines deal.
Oh, absolutely. Sammy Sosa is an outstanding-looking prospect. He's only 22 years old, so you can look for Sammy to be out in the outfield for a number of years for the Sox. Of course, you get that stabilizer in the infield with Scotty Fletcher. And, of course, not too far down the road, we're going to see this fine young left-hander, Wilson Alvarez, make his presence felt. And maybe not in the too-distant future, because this kid's an outstanding prospect.
The rain is falling at Comiskey Park. This game is going to be delayed for some time. And so, let's enjoy some baseball via videotape. Some of the great pennant races in baseball history. Back at Comiskey Park, the tarp has been removed from the infield, and it appears that we're going to get this game underway. Approximately 50 minutes later, so they have scheduled a first pitch of around 2:20. And so, with the tarp off the infield, some of the pregame festivities, which were planned on opening day, are about to be held as Melito Perez, the White Sox starting pitcher, begins to loosen in the Chicago bullpen. The White Sox and the Milwaukee Brewers today here in Chicago, and tomorrow these two teams will be playing in County Stadium for their home opener, but on Channel 9 coming up this month in games involving the White Sox. Friday afternoon here against the Cleveland Indians at 1:30 Central Time. And then Saturday evening against the Indians at 7 o'clock. Then on April 26th in Arlington against the Texas Rangers at 7:30. And on April 29th back here at Comiskey Park against the Toronto Blue Jays, an afternoon game at 1:30. So that's the schedule on Channel 9 of White Sox baseball for the month of April. Earlier today there was great weather here in Chicago with a threat of rain. Well, that became a reality as we had almost a 45-minute soaking of the field. The Brewers are being introduced. We'll return to Comiskey Park and have today's game. But first, let's enjoy some more great pennant races. And welcome back to Comiskey Park. Jim Durham with Tom Pashorek. Today, the White Sox home opener against the Milwaukee Brewers, held up with a rain delay, but the rain has stopped. The tarp has been rolled back, and we are about set to go here. We've had the playing of the national anthem, the ceremonial throwing out of the first pitch by Chuck Comiskey, who's being interviewed down there by the local Chicago media. Chuck Comiskey, the grandson of the old Roman Charles Comiskey. And of course, back in the 50s, Chuck Comiskey was running the White Sox along with Frank Lane during the go-go era, which really rekindled this franchise. It began a run here in Chicago of 16 consecutive years from 1951 through 67, in which the White Sox finished in the first division. And a lot of those years they were chasing those hated Yankees and would come up just a game short or 2 or 3 games short, with the exception of 59, when of course they pushed through and won their pennant here. What a great crowd, Tom. Sellout crowd, standing room only.
You know, it's almost a World Series atmosphere over here this afternoon, Jim. There are people in the aisleways here. I think it's the biggest crowd I have ever seen at Comiskey Park since I've been associated with the White Sox, and that's a great tribute. Chet Kopic just came into our booth, and he says they are lined out outside trying to get tickets. So that's really great. We're going to have a full house here today, and hopefully we'll have a real good ball game.
Well, the people on hand, of course, sitting in on baseball history, the final home opener in Comiskey Park. And those of you in our TV audience, wherever you are watching, you are a part of history as well. Tom, we have been able to touch just briefly about this White Sox club and where it may be as far as depth is concerned and where the improvements may lie. Let's just take this team around the infield, and we'll start at third with Ventura. And if he hits, he stays, I assume.
He had a great spring defensively, so there's no problem there. If Robin Ventura can hit anywhere close to the way he did in college, he will be the third baseman. You also have Carlos Martinez, who can play there, and Steve Lyons as well. So that's a good position for the Sox.
And of course at shortstop it's Ozzie Guillen, and barring injury that's where he'll be all year long.
Yes, and of course if something happens to Ozzie, you have Scotty Fletcher, who can move over from second base, so that's a very strong position.
Second base is Fletcher's best position, however.
Right, with Steve Lyons backing him up there.
And at first base, that's an interesting position for the White Sox. So Walker makes the club. He's back now.
Ron Kittle played over there some last year too, and of course Carlos Martinez is the opening day first baseman. He's excellent over there, very big target certainly to throw to, and Danny Pasqua has played first base as well, so there's numbers there.
And pushing them from afar is Frank Thomas at Double-A Birmingham.
He will be here sometime. He's already hit a home run at Birmingham. They estimated about 450 feet, so Frank Thomas is the future there.
In the outfield today, it'll be an outfield of Calderon in left, Lance Johnson in center, and Sammy Sosa in right.
Good, solid. It's solid. There's some speed out there. Calderon has lost a lot of weight over the winter and looks like he's going to be able to play well defensively. Of course, it's an offense. It's a team that has to hit, too. The outfielders have got to not only play outstanding defense, but they've got to be able to get on base, particularly Lance Johnson and Sammy Sosa. If they don't do the job, you still have Danny Pasqua to rely on, Dave Gallagher also, and Darrell Boston. So there are deep at that position. Of course, now with 27 players, you want to be impressive because they're going to go down later on.
And behind the plate, of course, it's Carlton Fisk. He had injury problems last year. Karkovice really came on offensively last year for this team.
Well, it's obvious. I think it's the best catching duo in baseball today, barring none.
The White Sox have taken their positions on the field. Let's take a look at the Milwaukee batting order. Gary Sheffield leads off for the Brewers and plays third base. Hitting second behind the plate, B.J. Surhoff. The American League Most Valuable Player, Robin Yount, in center field batting third. The offseason acquisition, Dave Parker, hits cleanup, the DH for the Brewers. Rob Deere batting fifth and right. Greg Brock at first base. Glenn Braggs will be hitting seventh and playing left field. Edgar Diaz starts at shortstop today, bats eighth, and Billy Bates bats ninth, the second baseman. That's the Milwaukee batting order. And now here's a look at the White Sox defensively, Tom.
Defensively, Ivan Calderon will be in left field. Lance Johnson's the center fielder. Sammy Sosa in right. Around the horn, Robin Ventura at third base. Ozzie Guillen will play shortstop. Scotty Fletcher is at second. And Carlos Martinez, the first baseman. The battery this afternoon, Melito Perez will pitch, and of course Carlton Fisk behind the plate. There's a look at Melito. He really showed promise in the last month of last season and pitched very well in spring training. There you see his numbers from last year, 11 and 14, not that impressive. ERA was bad too at 5.01. 31 games pitched. He did have 2 complete ball games. 183 and a third innings, gave up 106 runs, 187 hits. That's not bad. Walks, he's really got to cut down on that walk ratio. That's a little bit too much. That's 1 every 2 innings. He can strike you out. He's got 141 last year. He features a good fastball, and he's been able to cut it. He's got movement on it for a change. Last year was basically straight. Excellent split finger pitch that he will change speeds on, and will also throw a slider. There you see his numbers in April are not that good. 1 and 3. 6.46. earned run average. He's been a warm weather pitcher in the past. Hopefully that'll change this afternoon.
And the other thing about Melito Perez, if he gets through the early innings, he can be around a while.
Yeah, that's very true. Melito Perez has always had difficulty in the first and second innings. Once he gets by those two, look out. He's been outstanding.
So Sheffield is set to lead off for the Brewers. Sheffield with 5 home runs last year. 3 of them came in the month of April. And the first pitch of the 1990 season at the knees, a little bit outside, and now Rich Garcia wants the ball.
I want to know where that pitch is. Looked like it was right there.
The first pitch of the home opener at Comiskey Park, the final home opener, is going to the Hall of Fame. That's the reason they called the ball in. Ball 1 the count on Sheffield. Rich Garcia, the plate umpire. Steve Palermo is at first base, Mike Riley at second, and Ted Hendry umpiring at third. Both of these teams were 6-9 in the exhibition season. Fly ball, center field. Lance Johnson makes the catch. One up and one down for the Brewers.
Well, Gary Sheffield had not played the last week of spring training because of a wrist injury, so they were doubtful with him yesterday. He is in the lineup and leading off, which is not a customary position for him. One thing you don't see in the Brewer lineup today, Jim, is they don't have any speed. Without Molitor, Robin Yount can steal a base, and B.J. Surhoff, their catcher, is probably their second best base stealer in the lineup today.
Surhoff batting second, and there's his strike. Fastball moving away. Game time temperature is 51 degrees, we understand. Strike 2 call.
51 degrees, Jim, and the wind is blowing out today. So
isn't that unusual for this time of year at Comiskey Park?
So it should help the offense today.
Especially the right-handed batters. The wind is blowing out toward left center field. Swing and a miss. In 3 pitches, Perez takes care of Surhoff.
Oh my, look at this split finger pitch. It is nasty. Look at it. He gets 2 strikes on him, and look at this pitch. Looks like a fastball, and the bottom falls out. B.J. Surhoff completely fooled by that pitch, blowing away at the knees, and that's a key for Melito Perez, to get ahead of the hitters, to take advantage of that good split finger pitch, because it's so difficult to lay off when you have 2 strikes on you. Early in the count, or if you're ahead in the count, the hitter has the ability to take that pitch.
Robin Yount takes it a little bit outside. Yount, who hit .318 last season, encored that this spring with a .379 mark in the exhibition season. A little low. Ball 2 the count.
There's really a lot of pressure on Robin Yount early in this season to try and keep these guys close in the pennant race, because until Molitor and Gantner and all these other good players that they have get back, the brunt of the offense is going to be actually on him and Dave Parker.
Good point. Hits a fastball high in the air to right and fairly deep, but Sosa on the track makes the catch, and the Brewers go down in order. We've played a half inning in the opening day at Comiskey Park, and there's no score. White Sox ready to bat in the home first, and Jeff Torborg has the White Sox hitting this way today. Lance Johnson leading off in center. Scott Fletcher batting second, playing second base. Ivan Calderon hits third, and it's Walker the DH, Fisk, Martinez, Ventura, Sosa, and Guillen.
And defensively, Braggs, Yount, and Deere in the outfield for Milwaukee. Sheffield, Diaz, Bates, and Brock around the horn, and the battery, Chris Bosio and B.J. Surhoff. Bosio, big right-hander. They list him at 6'3", 225. He hadn't seen 225 since about the 8th grade. But he had a great year last year, 15 and 10. 295 was his earned run average. He's a workhorse, too, almost 250 innings. Low percentage of hits. He does not walk people, but he can strike you out. Good pitcher.
Lance Johnson lifts a high pop on the left side and out of play. Strike one to Johnson.
As we mentioned, Chris Bosio has been the workhorse for this Milwaukee staff, and I'll tell you what, he has been a great pitcher in April throughout his career. 9-3 career, but last year he was 4-0, Jim, with a 1.37 earned run average. So he likes this cool weather to pitch in.
But the White Sox have roughed him up in his career. He's 1-6 lifetime against Chicago.
That's amazing, isn't it? Because, you know, actually he had a lot of trouble with the American League West last year. His numbers were much, much better against the Eastern teams.
A lot of that going around. People having trouble with the American League West. 2-1 the count to Johnson, as that one misses low.
Well, he's got good stuff. He's got a fastball that he can sink away from a left-handed hitter like Lance Johnson, or run it inside. Will throw a slider, very good pitch, curveball, and naturally he has a split finger pitch.
He misses outside with that one. 3-1 the count. As you said, he had outstanding control last year, only 48 walks and 234 plus innings. But he's gone to 3-1 here to Lance Johnson. Full count.
Good idea there by Lance to take a strike there, even though it's a favorable hitter's count. If he gets on base, he can ignite the White Sox offense earlier, plus make Bosio work a little bit more.
Here's the full count delivery. Hit hard into right field, but it hangs up there, and Rob Deere moves over to make the catch in right center.
Well, if Lance Johnson accomplished anything at that at-bat, he saw a lot of pitches from Bosio, and the next time he gets up there, I'm sure he will see some fastballs. Actually, he only threw him one breaking ball that particular time at bat, but just the fact that you saw 6 or 7 pitches is going to help you later on in the ball game.
But like you say, he saw a lot of pitches, although he maybe didn't see all of Bosio's.
Exactly.
Because of that big repertoire that he has. So Fletcher, the batter. Ball one the count. After Fletcher came over to the Sox last season, he hit .272, played errorless ball at second base. It really helped solidify the infield for the White Sox. The Sox and Brewers were at the bottom in the fielding percentages in the American League last year. Both of these clubs would like to improve there, but Milwaukee, because of the injuries they have on the infield, it may take them a while to improve.
Yeah, Milwaukee were 14. They're dead last in the American League defensively. Their pitching staff really suffered. Bosio had a victim of a lot of unearned runs.
Strike call, 2 balls and a strike.
As a matter of fact, he gave up a ton of unearned runs last year. 90 runs were scored off of him, and 13 of them were unearned. So that 15-10 record could have turned around a lot. He could have won 18 or 19 games easily.
Ground ball toward the shortstop. Diaz up and throwing. And Fletcher is retired. Two up and 2 down for the Sox. And here is Ivan Calderon, the left fielder today. Calderon, who has shed a few pounds, as Tom has mentioned, coming off an outstanding 89 when his 87 RBI was a personal best for him. Smashed. Diaz from the hole. Gets him with a good throw. And so the Sox go in order in the first. And after 1 full on opening day, the Sox and Brewers are scoreless.
Hey, I've got a sports quiz for you. Who's played more games at Comiskey Park than anybody? Luke Appling? Nope. Nellie Fox? Not him. Carlton Fisk? Uh-uh. Give up? You're looking at her.
Get magnetic schedules at this weekend Sox-Indians games and hear the Sox on WMAQ radio.
The last season in historic Comiskey Park. Years from now, you'll say you were there.
I'm Mike Tomczak for Kids' Sake. Growing up in Chicago, I always dreamed about playing for the Bears. But when I broke my leg in college, the doctor told me I'd never be able to play football again. Success and setbacks go hand in hand. What turns a setback into success is believing in yourself. If we could teach our kids that, we've taught them how to succeed. I'm Mike Tomczak, and remember, it's for kids' sake.
For Milito Perez here in the second inning, he's got 3 power guys to deal with. Parker, Deere, and Brock. And Dave Parker leads off. His first at-bat in a Brewers uniform. Last year with the A's, as you can see, big numbers. He's thrown big numbers on the board all during his career.
Well, he's a .293 career hitter with 307 homers and 1,342 RBI, so he has hit wherever he has played.
You know, Tom, there was a stretch back in the late 70s, a fly ball, foul, out of play. There was a stretch in the late 70s when he was with the Pirates. He may have been the best hitter in baseball. I think 2 or 3 seasons there for average, for power, for everything.
Yeah, you know what he did? Well, there you see what he did last year with Oakland. What he reminded me of back in the 70s was the big kid on the Little League field, you know, that just completely dominated, ran faster than anybody else, hit a homer almost every time up, drove in a run, had 2 consecutive batting titles. So he was just a great player back then. He could really run, too.
Yeah. Perez missed high, and Fisk was setting up inside for Parker.
Well, Dave Parker over the years has lost a little bit of bat speed. So what you want to do to get him out is throw him inside with the fastball. And you can throw him very slow pitches, too. Nothing slider speed, though.
He's got the game's first hit. Dave Parker comes up with a ground ball single.
Well, he got his arms extended right there. I think that was a fastball. Didn't have a whole lot on it. And it was able to find that hole between first and second. Another look at it, yeah, it's kind of a tailing just a bit away. You want to throw that fastball in on his hands. You don't like him to get his arms extended as he did right there.
Rob Deere, the batter. Playing in right field today for Milwaukee. Rob Deere, who has had a career of feast or famine for the most part. He came up through the Giants chain and he either hits the long ball. This time he gets under it, lifts a pop fly into shallow left. Ozzie Guillen has some problems with the wind, but hangs on.
Now, if that were Fred Manrique, I would really have been worried about that pop-up, because Freddie might be the worst at catching pop-ups of anybody that's ever worn a White Sox uniform, anybody in baseball for that matter. But Ozzie Guillen is one of the best. And he goes back after that ball. He wants to cover anything. Ozzie likes to cover the infield, left field, center field, the whole thing. He's out there on everything. El Capitan.
That's right. Co-Capitan.
See.
He and Carlton Fisk sharing the duties as captains, co-captains of the White Sox. Greg Brock, the batter. 1 out, a man on. Perez missing wide.
Ozzie, we will see him make spectacular plays day in and day out on pop-ups. It's just amazing how he can get out there. And it's a very difficult play for a shortstop to get out there and cover actually the third base line, get out to center field and make those plays. He's a big help to the outfielders who can play a little bit deeper on hitters.
Right now the outfield somewhat swung around the opposite way on Brock. Parker going. And Carlton Fisk had a tough time digging it out, so Dave Parker has a stolen base.
Oh, my. Well, Parker won't steal many because he's had a series of knee injuries and leg problems, but Carlos Martinez was playing behind him at first base, and Milito Perez paid no attention whatsoever. Here's a split finger pitch down in the dirt. Now Pudge is lucky just to get a glove on it. Parker in there standing up.
The Brewers with a man in scoring position and 1 out. 2-0 to Greg Brock. Strike call, 2 balls and a strike.
Jim, you mentioned the outfield swung around the left on Greg Brock, but the infield is playing him to pull. That's what a lot of left-handers will do. Brock is a low ball hitter. You want to keep the ball up and in on his hands. Very closed stance, as you can see him standing up at home plate. But he will pull the ball on the ground more times than not.
He pulls this one on the ground. Martinez to Perez covering, and Parker moves on to third.
Oh, that's a real dangerous play that Carlos Martinez did right there. He flipped that ball from his glove That is dangerous because you just don't have a feel for the ball right there. Melito got over there nicely. And fortunately for the White Sox, it was a good flip. Check it out right there. He had time to go to his bare hand and make that play. You almost make that play with your hands together so you can get the ball to your bare hand a little bit easier. Brock doesn't run that well, and you have to know the speed of all the runners in order to make those certain plays in the infield.
So with 2 outs, Perez has a chance to get out of this inning without allowing a run. Glenn Bragg's the batter. Fouls off a fastball. This weekend the Indians are in April 13th, 14th, and 15th. And all fans attending receive a magnetic schedule, compliments of the Chicago Tribune. For tickets, call Ticketmaster at 312-559-1212. And remember, it's only a 25-minute ride from Lansing to convenient Comiskey Park.
Glenn Bragg's had a great swing at a fastball up and out over the plate. You cannot pitch him there. You got to throw him inside like a big guy wants to get his arms extended. Now that's a good pitch. Get him off the plate a little bit. He missed inside. Then you can start throwing him the split finger and off-speed pitch away. But he's a pretty good breaking ball hitter.
Glenn Bragg's trying to deliver here with 2 outs. Perez is ready, and here's the 1-1. In on his fist. It's foul.
Thank you.
An excuse me bunt almost.
And that would have been a base hit too, because Ventura's playing deep with 2 strikes on Braggs. Ball hit very weakly down the third baseline. Braggs does have good speed. He was a great athlete coming out of California, San Bernardino, California, I believe it was, and he was everything in football, basketball, and baseball. Tremendous physical specimen, as you can see right there. Great athlete. He should have some good years for these guys.
1 ball and 2 strikes. And he holds up. It's ball 2, strike 2. First base umpire there is Steve Palermo.
Good umpire crew here too, Jim. Palermo and Rich Garcia, 2 of the better ones, and of course Mike Riley and Ted Hendry, very highly regarded also.
The White Sox and Brewers opening today in Chicago and tomorrow in Milwaukee. A 2-game series in County Stadium. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Braggs. Bounce down to second. That's an automatic, and Scott Fletcher takes care of Braggs and the Brewers. And the Brewers leave a man. We've played 1.5. There's no score on Channel 9. For Melito Perez here in the 2nd inning, he's got 3 power guys to deal with. Parker, Deere, and Brock. And Dave Parker leads off. His first at-bat in a Brewers uniform. Last year with the A's, as you can see, big numbers. He's thrown big numbers on the board all during his career.
Well, he's a .293 career hitter with 307 homers and 1,342 RBI, so he has hit wherever he has played.
You know, Tom, there was a stretch back in the late 70s, a fly ball, foul, out of play. There was a stretch in the late 70s when he was with the Pirates. He may have been the best hitter in baseball. I think 2 or 3 seasons there for average, for power, for everything.
Yeah, you know what he did? Well, there you see what he did last year with Oakland. What he reminded me of back in the 70s was the big kid on the Little League field, you know, that just completely dominated, ran faster than anybody else, hit a homer almost every time up, drove in a run, had 2 consecutive batting titles. So he was just a great player back then. He could really run, too.
Yeah. Perez missed high, and Fisk was setting up inside for Parker.
Well, Dave Parker over the years has lost a little bit of bat speed. So what you want to do to get him out is throw him inside with the fastball. And you can throw him very slow pitches, too. Nothing slider speed, though.
He's got the game's first hit. Dave Parker comes up with a ground ball single.
Well, he got his arms extended right there. I think that was a fastball. didn't have a whole lot on it, and it was able to find that hole between first and second. Another look at it, yeah, it's kind of a tailing just a bit away. I'm going to throw that fastball in on his hands. You don't like him to get his arms extended as he did right there.
Rob Deere, the batter. Playing in right field today for Milwaukee. Rob Deere, who has had a career of feast or famine for the most part. He came up through the Giants chain and either hits the long ball. This time he gets under it, lifts a pop fly into shallow left. Ozzie Guillen has some problems with the wind, but hangs on.
Now, if that were Fred Manrique, I would really have been worried about that pop-up, because Freddie might be the worst at catching pop-ups of anybody that's ever worn a White Sox uniform, anybody in baseball for that matter. But Ozzie Guillen is one of the best. And he goes back after that ball. He wants to cover anything. Ozzie likes to cover the infield, left field, center field, the whole thing. He's out there on everything. El Capitan.
That's right. Co-Capitan.
See.
He and Carlton Fisk sharing the duties as captains, co-captains of the White Sox. Greg Brock, the batter. 1 out, a man on. Perez missing wide.
Ozzie, we will see him make spectacular plays day in and day out on pop-ups. It's just amazing how he can get out there, and it's a very difficult play for a shortstop to get out there and cover actually the third base line, get out to center field and make those plays. He's a big help to the outfielders who can play a little bit deeper on hitters.
Right now the outfield somewhat swung around the opposite way on Brock. Parker going, and Carlton Fisk had a tough time digging it out, so Dave Parker has a stolen base.
Oh my. Well, Parker won't steal many, because he's had a series of knee injuries and leg problems, but Carlos Martinez was playing behind him at first base, and Melito Perez paid no attention whatsoever. Here's a split finger pitch down in the dirt. Now Pudge is lucky just to get a glove on it. Parker in there standing up.
The Brewers with a man in scoring position and 1 out. 2-0 to Greg Brock. Strike call, 2 balls and a strike.
Jim, you mentioned the outfield swung around the left on Greg Brock, but the infield is playing him to pull. That's what a lot of left-handers will do. Brock is a low ball hitter. You want to keep the ball up and in on his hands. Very closed stance, as you can see him standing up at home plate. But he will pull the ball on the ground more times than not.
He pulls this one on the ground. Martinez to Perez covering, and Parker moves on to third.
Oh, that's a real dangerous play that Carlos Martinez did right there. He flipped that ball from his glove. That is dangerous, because you just don't have a feel for the ball right there. Melito got over there nicely, and fortunately for the White Sox, it was a good flip. Check it out right there. He had time to go to his bare hand and make that play. You almost make that play with your hands together so you can get the ball to your bare hand a little bit easier. Brock doesn't run that well, and you have to know the speed of all the runners in order to make those certain plays in the infield.
So with 2 outs, Perez has a chance to get out of this inning without allowing a run. Glenn Bragg's the batter. Fouls off a fastball. This weekend the Indians are in April 13th, 14th, and 15th. And all fans attending receive a magnetic schedule, compliments of the Chicago Tribune. For tickets, call Ticketmaster at 312-559-1212. And remember, it's only a 25-minute ride from Lansing to convenient Comiskey Park.
Glenn Bragg's had a great swing at a fastball up and out over the plate. You cannot pitch him there. You got to throw him inside like a big guy wants to get his arms extended. Now that's a good pitch. Get him off the plate a little bit. He missed inside. Then you can start throwing him the split finger and off-speed pitch away. But he's a pretty good breaking ball hitter.
Glenn Bragg's trying to deliver here with 2 outs. Perez is ready, and here's the 1-1. In on his fist. It's foul.
Thank you.
excuse me, bunt almost.
And that would have been a base hit, too, because Ventura is playing deep with 2 strikes on Braggs. Ball hit very weakly down the third baseline. Braggs does have good speed. He was a great athlete coming out of California, San Bernardino, California, I believe it was, and he was all everything in football, basketball, and baseball. Tremendous physical specimen, as you can see right there. Great athlete. He should have some good years for these guys.
1 ball and 2 strikes. He holds up. It's ball 2, strike 2. First base umpire there is Steve Palermo.
Good umpire crew here too, Jim. Palermo and Rich Garcia, 2 of the better ones, and of course Mike Riley and Ted Hendry, very highly regarded also.
The White Sox and Brewers opening today in Chicago and tomorrow in Milwaukee. A 2-game series in County Stadium. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Braggs. Bounce down to second. That's an automatic, and Scott Fletcher takes care of Braggs and the Brewers. And the Brewers leave a man. We've played 1.5. There's no score on Channel 9. So here's Ventura. Takes one low. Robin Ventura hit 178 for the Sox when he came up late in the season in '89. And had a rocky spring. He hit 161. But the encouraging thing about him offensively is his selection.
Yeah, he'll take a walk, no doubt about it. Robin had 2 hits in his last 2 at-bats on Saturday against Boston, too, so his confidence should be high right now.
Trying to deliver a big 2-out hit. Inside. Ball 2 the count.
How about that honor, Robin Ventura? It's on the board right now, named the College Player of the 80s by Baseball America. There's been a lot of pretty good players. Of course, when you hit 58 consecutive games, you got to get a lot of consideration for that award.
Here's the 2-0. Strike call, 2-1. And we found this out. Robin Ventura, by marriage, is the cousin of Ron Majors, one of the top newsmen in the city.
Son of a gun.
Learn something every day, right? 2 balls and a strike. A little low. 3-1.
That's good patience right there, because a normal guy, especially a young guy, is going to take a whack at that pitch. Good split finger offering by Bosio. See, Boz knows that at first base is open, and with the left-handed hitter, he might just be pitching around Ventura. Get the Sammy Sosa. Of course, Sammy had a great spring.
Here's the 3-1. Ball 4. So the Sox now with runners at first and second. Ventura at first, Fisk at second for Sammy Sosa. We are in the home second here at Comiskey Park, and no score in the game. Each team with a hit. Sammy Sosa, good-looking prospect. Takes it upstairs, and Surhoff goes out to the mound to visit with Bosio.
You know, with Sammy Sosa hitting 8th and Ozzie Guillen 9th, and then you got Lance Johnson coming up in that number 1 slot in the lineup, what that gives Jeff Torborg is a lot of speed back to back to back in the White Sox lineup, and he's hoping to be able to manufacture a lot of runs by taking advantage of those 3 guys hitting in that order in the lineup.
1 ball to count to Sosa. The Sox with an early threat here in the second. The 1-0. Outside. Ball 2. Jeff Torborg feeling very good about his team. He's an optimistic guy anyway, but he sincerely feels that the 1990 version of the White Sox far superior to last season. Pitching, of course, is the key to this club, as it is to most teams. Foul back. He had a pitch to hit, didn't he?
Well, he took a good swing at it. Might have been just a little bit out of Sammy's zone. I think Sammy's a better low ball hitter than he is high, and that pitch was just a bit up there above the belt. Let's look at the replay. Yep. That's almost letter high. He just missed smoking that ball. Sammy Sosa, incidentally, has great power to all fields, so he's not one of those guys that should try and pull the ball. When he was going good last year with the White Sox, he was hitting the ball up the middle and to the opposite field and hitting it very aggressively.
2-1 the count. Bosio has been missing high. He's been a little high with a lot of his deliveries. There's a pitch hit up the middle. Oh, what a super play by Bates. Dropped the ball. Fisk is going to have to be held. Bases are loaded. But Bates saved a run.
I had already turned my head and written down that was a great play by Bates. Super effort, as you can see right here. There's a sinking fastball. Sammy inside outs this ball, still hits it fairly hard. Bates, when he makes contact with the ground, that's when the ball comes out of his glove. So that's going to be scored a base hit, number 2 on the inning. What Bates did do was save a run for Bosio and the Brewers. Now Ozzie Guillen with an opportunity, bases loaded, 2 out.
Ozzie Guillen, who last season drove in 54 runs, a personal best for him, has a chance here to make a dent in that RBI column. Strike call. Carlton Fisk is at third. Ventura, the runner, at second. And over at first is Sosa. Strike 1 on Guillen. Lifts a fly foul off to the left, out of play. 0-2.
Well, you're right. Bosio has been up with all of his pitches so far, and I think that's a control thing with Bosio. As you mentioned, he's more susceptible to being hit in the early innings. Later on, he gets his act together, feels more comfortable out there, and will start pitching the ball lower. Ozzie now way in the hole now with 0-2.
2 hits and a walk have loaded the bases for the Sox. That one was up, and it's hit into left field. Bragg's over, makes the catch. And the White Sox threaten but don't score. They leave 3. We've played 2 and no score. We love this Comiskey Park. That's the mood of a sellout crowd today on opening day, the final opening day for Old Comiskey. And the next telecast on Channel 9 this Friday at 1:30 Central Time. The White Sox at home with the Cleveland Indians in to open a weekend series. This game goes to the top of the 3rd. And Edgar Diaz leads off for Milwaukee.
There you see Edgar Diaz is in this lineup mainly for his defense. 215 last year at Denver. That's AAA, and that's a pretty good place to hit. He's already made a couple pretty good defensive plays, though. And actually, Bosio was really helped by his defense, which was 14th in the American League last year by Sheffield and Bates, saving him actually a couple of runs.
Yeah, they're doing just fine, aren't they? They're doing just nicely, thank you, even though they've got some key injuries on that infield. At least through the first couple innings of the season. Perez misses high twice. 2-0. That one catches the corner. 2 balls and a strike. The first in a series of Chi Sox Coca-Cola luncheons takes place Monday, April 30th at the Chicago Hilton and Towers downtown. The luncheon features the entire White Sox team, and that one is on into right field. A base hit for Diaz to lead off the third. That's the second hit for Milwaukee.
Well, I just got to learn to keep my big mouth shut. As soon as I say that somebody can't hit, he promptly lines a shot in the right field. That was a great piece of hitting there by Edgar Diaz right there. He just took a real nice swing. Head went down on contact. I'm sure that Walt Riniak, had he been on the White Sox team, would have been very proud of that. Great piece of hitting.
Here's Billy Bates, the Milwaukee second baseman. Had some limited duty with the Brewers in '89, and that's the result, that .214 average.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they were bunting with this hitter. Bates not noted for his offense either. I think what Trebelhorn is going to have to do with his team early on, especially with Molitor out, is try and manufacture as many runs as he can. He's got a good pitching staff, so they should be in most of the ball games.
And Trebelhorn manages that way anyway. He likes to start runners. And
yeah, there's not a whole lot of team speed out there with Milwaukee, so he's going to have to take advantage of the hit and run, contact, things like that, and bunts.
First pitch, and it is bunted. Perez makes the play to first, and Bates gets the sacrifice accomplished. There's Tom Trebelhorn, starting his 5th season at the helm of the Milwaukee Brewers. One was a partial season, so this is the beginning of his 4th full. Back to the top of the order for the Brewers, and here is the third baseman, Gary Sheffield. He also has made a fine play defensively for Milwaukee already today. Fastball in there, strike one the count. Last year the White Sox had a real domination where the Brewers were concerned, the Sox winning 10 of the 12 games played. And they start the early season with Milwaukee 3 times. They open a 2-game series in County Stadium tomorrow. Good pitch.
Oh
boy, that froze Sheffield.
It also
fooled Carlton Fisk.
Yes, it really did. Boy, that had movement. That ball had great movement right there at the last. It looked like a fastball, and then it kind of moved away from the hitters. You can see Fisk expecting the number 1, and he got the slider. Obviously, that was a slider by Melito. It had great movement. Sheffield thought the pitch was going to be inside, almost going to be hitting him. So he's ahead in the count, 0-2. Good spot for that split finger fastball.
The 2-strike pitch from Perez. Diaz drawing his attention there at second base. A little high and inside. A ball and 2 strikes. Both teams with 2 hits. A scoreless game, though. We're in the Milwaukee 3rd. One out, a man in scoring position. Here's the 1-2. Hit foul. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Well, in the final season of Comiskey Park, as has been the case in recent seasons, fireworks displays periodically. Fireworks display sponsored by Coca-Cola takes place after the White Sox meet the Blue Jays on Saturday, April 28th. It's a 6 o'clock start. Call Ticketmaster for tickets, 312-559-1212. Ground ball picked up by Ventura. And Sheffield is out. Try to drop slide on Martinez, and he made the tag.
Well, this is the first bad throw we've seen Robin Ventura make since spring training started. And let's check it out. Pretty routine play right there. Robin moving very smoothly to his left. Might have had a little bit of problem with his release point, and I cannot see Martinez tagging him with there. Did you?
I did not see him tag him either.
No. I think they had a pretty legitimate beef right there, but that's a tough call for the first base umpire, Steve Palermo. Sox were lucky right there. 2 outs now.
Surhoff the batter. Perez struck him out on 3 pitches in the first inning. Ball 1. Melito Perez, who was the top winner for the Sox last year with 11 victories, but he also dropped 14. And he had that earned run average over 5, although the last month of the season it was on the decrease. He won 4 of his last 5 decisions. There's one hammered into the right field corner. That will score the game's first run, and it'll be a ground rule double.
And we'll probably have our first ejection from the ballpark momentarily. Well, he got that pitch up a little bit, and Surhoff hammered it into the corner. Let's look at the replay. Now, this time, Surhoff had the count in his favor, got the high fastball, and he just nailed it. His last time up, he was behind in the count 0-2. So Melito got into a little bit of a trouble right there, falling behind in the count, and he paid the price. 1-0 Brewers.
And a tough guy to deal with here, Robin Yount. Yount flied out to end the first inning. Up high, ball 1. Both of these pitchers today, Perez and Bosio, are missing high. That's usually not a good sign. One and 0 to Robin Yount, who last season drove in over 100 runs. He had 103 runs batted in his MVP year.
You know, the big thing about getting Dave Parker on this team is Parker's on deck hitting cleanup. Robin Yount is going to get better pitches to hit this year, believe it or not, as he swings through a fastball.
He had one there.
Yeah, he did. He got one right there. Robin Yount can handle any pitch, whether it's up or down. I think he's a better low fastball hitter, but he can also hit the breaking ball extremely well. Now, last year he was the league's MVP, and I'm sure Harry Dalton felt that this year opposing pitchers are going to pitch around him unless they got a real top-notch cleanup hitter, and preferably a left-handed hitter to hit behind him. And Dave Parker should fill that void that they've had. So Robin actually should be more productive with this big guy hitting behind him.
Dave Parker already with a hit in the game.
Hey, listen to him at 230. My goodness, he looks bigger than that, doesn't he?
He sure does.
It's like the left side of the Green Bay Packer line.
It is a ball and a strike to Yount. And 2 outs. In the Brewer third, they have broken through. They have a 1-0 lead. Ball 2, strike 1. There is a man.
Big man. Big Dave. We're going to write a song about him. Brewers changed uniforms. You notice that?
Yes.
They're going with the button down and the belts. Button down shirts. There's a good swing by Robin Yount. I like them a lot better than those pullovers that they were wearing before.
DJ Surhoff, the runner at second. His double down the right field line drove in the game's only run.
How about Robin Yount? He's won the most valuable player in the American League at 2 different positions. Has anybody else ever done that? I don't think so. I was trying to look that up.
I think so.
Infielder and outfielder.
Swing and a miss, or foul tip. He stays alive. Stan Musial did it. I remember Musial
and
Hank Greenberg were told also.
Right,
did it.
Hank Greenberg. Okay.
You remember Musial?
Yes.
Sure.
I mean, good old Stash. Anyway, Robin Yount's already played 17 years in the major leagues, and he's only, what, 33 years old?
That's right.
Good, 34. Keeps himself in great physical condition, and I think he can play another 8 or 9 years, quite honestly.
He didn't need much seasoning.
Oh, my.
Strikes out there. Perez gets a big strikeout to end the Brewer threat in the third, but Milwaukee does push through with a run, and so the Brewers have a 1-0 lead. Sox fans of all ages on hand for this opening day. There's a youngster out of the picnic area. You might want to try a hat just a touch smaller, maybe just one size smaller than that.
Just a tad. Might mention that we got our first pizza of the year from Cassiani's.
Yes, you would mention
Thank
that,
you.
of course.
We need pizza like we need.
There's a strike to Lance Johnson.
Everybody in the White Sox organization is so skinny now. You notice that? And
Starting
we're
from
gonna
Jerry
ruin that
Reinsdorf
image.
on down.
Yes, Eddie Einhorn,
Yes.
Rob Gallus. Boy, everybody's nice and thin. Ooh.
High hard one, and it's ball one, strike one. You know, the best way to diet is to simply buy your clothes a little bigger. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Those pleated pants, I hope they never go out of style.
Johnson trying to butt his way on, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Milwaukee got to Melito Perez for a run in the top half of this inning to break the scoreless tie. The White Sox with a couple of hits off Chris Bosio. They had a full-blown threat in the second that went by the boards. They left the bases loaded. Johnson to bunt. Bosio over with a bare hand pickup. And a nice pickup at first by Brock.
There's a good play by Bosio, the big guy. I think he was a tight end in football someplace. He had to be. But he bounced off the mound nicely there. Wasn't a real good bunt by Lance. As you can see, he wants to get it down the third baseline. The speed is okay, but it's much too close to the pitcher. And Bosio's able to make the play rather easily. You see he barehanded that ball. If he catches that with his glove, he's got no chance to throw him out.
Scott Fletcher bats with 1 out and nobody on. Grounded out to short his first time up. Lifts a fly ball into right, and Rob Deere drifts back a step or two. 2 outs.
You know, one encouraging sign about Melito Perez in that third inning, Jim, is the fact that he only gave up 1 run, and that's a sign of a maturing pitcher. And after giving up the double to Surhoff that scored the run, he pitched Robin Yount as tough as you could possibly pitch him, and he got him on strikes with a great forkball or split finger pitch. So that's an encouraging sign for Melito.
Ivan Calderon takes one upstairs, ball 1. Grounded toward the hole, and another super play by Diaz, but he lost his footing and thus lost the throw. He's like a vacuum cleaner over there. Nothing's getting through the left side of that infield today.
You're not kidding. Sheffield and he have both been outstanding. He may have had a shot at Calderon. Ivan gets down the line fairly good for a big guy, but actually that little bit of rain probably hurt his footwork a little bit. There you can see Ivan goes out and pulls the outside pitch. Now watch, he's trying to establish some footing right there, and he's got no chance. That's a base hit all the way.
And for the Sox, their third of the game. But 2 of them haven't gotten out of the infield. Walker takes ball 1.
Greg hit the ball hard his first time up, hit a fly ball to the warning track in left field. Very important, as we mentioned earlier, that Greg Walker do that. Hit the ball from left center field to right center field.
If you're joining our telecast late, we started late. We had a rain delay which held up things till almost 2:20 Central Time. The first pitch was scheduled to be thrown at 1:35. Inside corner. Strike called, a ball and a strike. Greg Walker with that hole open on the right side of the infield, with Brock holding the base runner. Big cut, a ball and 2 strikes. Walker trying to keep things going for the Sox here in the third inning with 2 outs. Carlton Fisk is on deck. Boy, it'd be nice to see Fisk up there with a couple guys on base, huh?
Oh, yeah.
This pitch is fouled back on the screen. Still 1-2.
Well, Bosio doesn't walk many people. It looks like he's starting to get his stuff together a little bit better this inning, not throwing many pitches up as he did in the first couple of innings, and that could be very tough for the White Sox, because when that pitch is down, you really have a lot more difficulty picking up the rotation on the breaking ball, and of course on the split finger pitch is that much more effective.
There goes the runner. The pitch is high. Surhoff's throw is high. Stolen base for Calderon.
And of course that's number 1 for Ivan. Now Bosio didn't pay any attention to Calderon right there. That's good aggressive base running right there by Calderon, because there are 2 strikes on Walker, and so it's not a hitting type situation. There you see the good jump. Ivan, he is stealing on his own, I believe.
Yeah, he doesn't look back.
No, he doesn't. Heads down all the way.
And Walker has a cut, strikes out, and that ends the threat for the White Sox. So the Sox come up scoreless again in the third, and they leave a man. After 3, the Brewers lead it 1-0. Ball game going to the 4th with our producer director Skip Ellison. This is Jim Durham with Tom Pashorek at Comiskey Park for the final opening day ever here in Comiskey. Dave Parker leads off for Milwaukee. Well, WGN Channel 9 has chronicled a lot of White Sox history down through the years, and they will be chronicling more this year. A high drive into right center. Who wants it? Lance Johnson catches it. I don't know if he wanted it, but he made the catch. He and Sosa were both there.
Well, there's a little bit of confusion on this play. You know, Dave Parker, he's shaking his head, because if that ball is about 6 inches farther away from him, he's going to hit that ball 9 miles. Now you can see the wind playing havoc here. Now there's great concentration by Lance Johnson, because well, I don't really know what Sammy was doing on that particular play, using, looked like a decoy.
Use the swing you talked about.
Watch it. The pitch is inside, just in enough. If that ball is 6 inches out away from him, I tell you what, he could have crushed it. He almost hit that one.
And Rob Deere has a big swing, strike 1. So with 1 out and nobody on, it's 0-1 on Deere, who is 0 for 1 today.
Rob Deere looks like he changed his stance a little bit, trying to cut down on those strikeouts. He used to have, remember that the front heel was off the ground, and probably a little timing mechanism. I always wondered why guys hit that way with the front heel off the ground. It seemed like it'd be somewhat of a balance problem. He's got great power. See right there? There you see it. And he's a little bit more open than he was before. He was hit with a very pronounced closed stance in the past. Looks like he's got all his weight moving forward, though.
Ball 2, strike 1, the count on Deere. Yeah, you're right. He has always been a free swinger and has had some nice home run years, but big strikeouts too. Breaking ball in there, 2-2.
Well, they've got a new hitting coach here at Milwaukee, Don Baylor, the ex-Baltimore, Oakland, California Angel, Oakland again, Yankee, Red Sox. Great. He was an outstanding hitter. Of course, he got hit a lot of times too, the all-time leader in being hit by pitches. He's the new batting coach.
Here's the 2-2 pitch.
Wow.
He struck him out. There's Don Baylor.
Yeah, Donnie didn't like that swing, but he didn't like to hit that pitch either when he was playing. That is a great split finger. You see how important it is for Melito to get ahead of the hitter. Look at the bottom just drop out from that. It looks like a fastball. Deere is gearing in to hit a fastball, and it just disappears. That's a great pitch by Melito, number 3 in the strikeout.
He's doing a pretty good job with this starting opportunity today, opening day, and now Brock bats with 2 out and nobody on, and he holds up in time. Ball 1. Each team has 3 hits in the game. The Brewers scoring their run in the 3rd. B.J. Surhoff with an RBI double. Strike called, a ball and a strike.
See, now that's a pitch as a hitter you really can't afford to take. That's a fastball right there in the outer half of the plate. That's a pitch you got to drive, because then you're going to have to hit that.
He holds up on his swing, and it's ball 2, strike 1. Talking about Channel 9 being on hand for White Sox history. 1961, the season opener in Washington. And the pregame show guest that day happened to be President Kennedy. Not too bad, huh, Tom?
Oh. It's a pretty good guest.
3-1.
We've got Pee Wee Herman coming in a little later.
Here's the 3-1 pitch to Brock. Whoa.
Yes.
That's usually called a ball, but Rich Garcia says that's a strike.
Yeah, but how can you take that pitch?
I don't know.
Though? It's right down Broadway. I think that's why home run production, you know, they say that the ball is deadened and all that other thing, but in the last couple of years, Jim, I've seen guys take pitches belt high and taking them for balls instead of hitting them out of the ballpark.
And Perez strikes him out. So 2 strikeouts in this inning, 4 for the game for Melito Perez. The Brewers go in order in the 4th, but lead it 1-0. The White Sox opened Comiskey Park mid-season 1910, so the first season opener was 1911, and the Detroit Tigers beat the White Sox 6-3. Ed Walsh gave up 14 hits. Boy, Ed Walsh, one of the big pitchers in White Sox history. And there you see the new Comiskey Park rising above the old one on the south side of 35th Street. Carlton Fisk leads off for the Sox here and hits a long foul.
Wow, that was the same pitch he hit for a double down the 3rd baseline in his first at bat. Up and in fastball. He can get those hands through. Always been a great fastball hitter. I would look for Bosio to go with off-speed stuff from here on out. In this at bat, anyway.
Carlton Fisk, 13 home runs shy of becoming the all-time leader in that department for a catcher. And this time he plays the right field line. He's going to hold up with a single, though, as Deere gets the ball back in. So Fisk with a double down the left field line, and now a single going the other way.
Well, he hit a pitch up and in for the double down the 3rd baseline and got this one down and away. Now, this is a pitcher's pitch. And Pudge nails it. Of course, Brock doesn't anticipate him hitting the ball the other way. Actually, that pitch is a little bit up, but it was on the outside corner. He hits it hard, though. And Rob Deere is a very good defensive outfielder. Although they're thinking that Pudge is going to pull, playing him that way, he gets there in a hurry, and he does that little step, that turnaround step right there to get the ball into second base. That's the way to make that play from the outfield.
It was a good pitch to Martinez on the inside part of the plate. Strike 1. The Sox here in the 4th, down by a run, but they've got the leadoff man on. That one bounces away from Surhoff, and Fisk takes second. Looked like maybe a splitter that got away from him.
Yeah, that's the danger of throwing that split finger fastball. chances are that you're going to throw a lot of those in the dirt, and when the runner's on base, they naturally will advance. Surhoff really had no chance on this one. So Bosio, Melito Perez throws a split finger often too, and he had 12 wild pitches. There you see it. That's about a 58-footer. Tough play there for Surhoff, because when it hits, it kind of spins back towards the hitter.
Martinez hits a line drive, but Bates has it, and Fisk just does get back. What about this porous infield we were talking about, this inexperienced infield of the Milwaukee Brewers? They're playing great today.
Yeah, they got different guys out there that were the worst fielding defensive team in baseball last year, but actually Martinez does a nice job here. He did what he was supposed to do, hit the ball the opposite way to try and get Fisk to third base with less than 2 outs. It hit a little bit too hard, and the White Sox having a little bit of tough luck early on in this ball game.
Robin Ventura coaxed a walk out of Bosio. His first time up. Surhoff visits with his right-hander. Let me remind you that the Coca-Cola Chi Sox fan club is open to Sox fans of all ages. Members will receive 2 White Sox tickets, a subscription to the Comiskey Columns newsletter, a set of White Sox baseball cards, and a whole lot more for only a $10 membership fee. And the proceeds benefit the Chi Sox Research Fund at Northwestern Memorial Hospital and the Chi Sox Day Hospital at Children's Memorial. For more information, call the White Sox at 312-924-1000. Robin Ventura batting with Fisk at second. Strike called.
Pretty good fastball by Bosio. Looked like the best one he threw all day. In on the hands of Robin Ventura. Now, I think that's basically what the scouting report is going to be on Robin Ventura. He's going to have to prove to American League pitchers that he can handle an inside fastball. There's another one.
That one misses, though. It's a ball and a strike. Big crowd today at Comiskey Park, hoping to see their White Sox break through against Chris Bosio. The 1-1 delivery. Low and inside. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, there we have it. Back to the future. Well, there's some young dudes.
Martinez is the graybeard of the bunch at 24 years old.
Can you imagine that? When did we get out of high school?
When did we get out of high school?
I'm trying to think when I got out of high school. Of course, it was about 8 years after I started it. So that date just keeps eluding me. But that's about the time that these guys were all born. And that's a scary feeling.
Robin Ventura in his first opener, playing in his stadium, hosting its final opener. There's a contrast there, right? 2 balls, 2 strikes. He hits the ball hard to left, but Braggs is right there. 2 outs for the Sox. Same old story for the White Sox. Here they sit with a man in scoring position and 2 away. Let's see if Sosa can deliver.
And that was good contact by Ventura. He got a breaking ball up and he hammers it the opposite way, but it was exactly where Glenn Braggs was playing him. You know, all these teams have these scouting reports on each hitter, their tendencies, where they're going to hit the ball, and you really have to check that before every ball game. And I'll tell you, more times than not, those things are going to be right. And that's why I think the batting averages have gone down a little bit over the years, too, because of those good scouting reports.
Sosa lifts a high fly, shallow left. No problem for Braggs, and the White Sox are turned away again, this time in the 4th. And again, they leave a runner. They're still shy a run. It's 1-0 Milwaukee. The Brewers come up in the 5th inning here at Comiskey Park. This is the first of 2 openers on Channel 9 today. Tonight, the Cubs opener at home with the Phils. The first time in history that the 2 Chicago teams have opened at home on the same day. Melito Perez has retired the last 4 and has a strikeout string of 2 working right now as Glenn Braggs leads off for the Brewers here in the 5th. A little bit inside, a little bit high, ball 1. Melito Perez with 4 strikeouts today. He's had good control. Smash! Ventura gobbles it. And Braggs is retired.
Good play by Robin Ventura. Ball hit very hard. I'll tell you what, boy, Robin really likes to play off the line. Must have a lot of confidence in his ability to
go to his right.
Go to his right, or the tendency of the Milwaukee hitters, especially today, to not pull the ball down the line. And that's very true with Glenn Braggs. He very seldom will hit the ball down the third baseline.
Here's Eddie Diaz. Line fly into right field. And it falls safely. Sosa made a good effort, and from our angle we couldn't tell whether he had caught it or not. Diaz gets a base hit.
Not a good jump here by Sammy Sosa. Though when you really look at that play, Diaz is not a power hitter, so he is going to be basically playing him right behind second base. I think he started back on that ball, and when he regrouped, he did make the good effort, but he probably could have caught that ball about knee high had he gotten the proper jump.
So Billy Bates, who sacrificed successfully his last time up, batting with 1 out, 1 on. Perez missing wide with a fastball.
Actually, I think Sammy might be playing him a little bit too deep out in right field. When I look at Billy Bates, obviously not a power hitter.
Boy, he does have a big gap in right center field. And they're pitching him outside, so although that looked like a pitch out.
Yeah. A lot of area to hit out there. That's the book on Billy Bates. And while we have a minute, Irene Sokolovich is recuperating, watching the ball game from her home in Chicago. Hope she's feeling better. There's a good strike.
Yep.
I'm the only one that can say that name, see, the last name, so that's why I did that.
You do real well with that, Tom.
Thanks. It's the Smiths and the Jones I have problems with.
How about Bates? You can handle Bates.
You don't think his nickname might be Norman, do you?
Oh, boy. 1 out, 1 on the pitch. Outside. Ball 3. Strike 1 is the count. White Sox in the middle of the infield playing a double play depth. And the outfield, as we mentioned, swung around a little bit toward the left. Perez has been pitching him outside. Edgar Diaz, the runner at first. He goes. Line fly, left center. Lance Johnson is over. And Diaz retreats to first. So they had him played perfectly.
Yeah, they really do. Those scouting reports come in handy. Of course, every time you see a little guy come up to the plate, you automatically think he's going to have the tendency to hit the balls in the air to the opposite side of the field.
Gary Sheffield, the batter. 0 for 2 on the day, a ground out, and he is flied out. Both teams getting good starting performances from their pitchers today. Melito Perez has been outstanding. Jeff Torborg has to like what he sees in Perez. With the limited amount of work in spring training, of course, pitching of the utmost concern for all the big league clubs. How far will the starters go opening day? Right now, Perez showing no signs of weakening with 2 outs here in the 5th. little bit inside to Sheffield.
Well, the big number that we just saw in that graphic was the walks. No walks so far for Melito, and that is a key for his success overall in the season. If he can stay away from walking that, like last year, he was about a walk every other inning.
Right.
Now that can spell doom for most pitchers.
Fly ball, right field. Sosa over. Makes the catch. And the Brewers are retired in the 5th. And this time they leave a man fail to score, but they still lead the game 1-0. Jeff Torborg of the White Sox looking for some runs here in the 5th against Chris Bosio. The Brewers have so far made 1 run stand up. Ozzie Guillen leading off. Strike 1. Guillen flied out to leave the bases loaded in the 2nd. That was the inning the Sox really had a chance to score against Bosio. And that pitch misses inside. Ball 1, strike 1. But this is that part of the batting order that Tom alluded to earlier. With Guillen down in the 9th spot, Jeff Torborg is able to bug some speed. Foul ball, a ball and 2 strikes because Lance Johnson follows as the leadoff man.
And there's Jeff Torborg. He's listening to. He's got that little doodad in his ear. I don't know. I know we do have an eye in the sky. Joe Nosek doing those things, but of course he's on offense right now.
Ball 2, strike 2 is the count.
I think he's listening to the broadcast, or
I don't believe.
I doubt it. Bosio's tough to pick up. You know, he's got that big body that he'll throw his arm out and he crossfires across his body, so he's very difficult to pick up from a hitter's standpoint.
Here's the 2-2 pitch to Guillen. Ripped. Fair. Guillen's got an extra base hit here. He's going to try it for 3. And he makes it. Ozzie Guillen with a leadoff triple. Surhoff was setting up to the outside, and I don't think Bosio got it outside.
Well, the one pitch that Ozzie's going to pull is, well, actually that's a fastball in the inner half of the plate. Now they're going to play him around the opposite way. As you can see, this ball hits the foul line. Fortunately, no fan was able to get his hand on it because that's an easy triple for Ozzie, who runs very well. You see, he's taking a look right there. He knows he's got third base. So it sets up an RBI opportunity for Lance Johnson, and surprisingly, the infield is going to be playing back and concede the run on a ground ball.
And there is the ground ball. Brock makes the pickup, though, coming in and holds the runner and makes the tag.
Well, he hit it
Boy,
to the
from a
wrong
Milwaukee
guy.
standpoint, that was an ideal play right there.
Yes. Just hit it to the wrong guy. They were playing deep at short and second, and now they're going to bring the infielders in. Lance Johnson, that's not a good piece of hitting right there. He threw him the breaking ball down and in. You either got to take that pitch. He rolled the top hand over, and that situation, as Walter will teach, Riniak will, you want to hit the fly ball, gear in to hit the fly ball from left center to right center field just to score that run. It's up to Fletcher now.
Fletcher with a long look at Terry Bevington, the third base coach. Handles the bat very well. Strike call. The White Sox with a leadoff triple by Ozzie Guillen here in the 5th. Sox have left some runners today. Left the bases loaded in the 2nd. Left a man in the 3rd. Left a man in the 4th. The 1-strike pitch to Fletcher. Gets away from Surhoff, and the game is tied.
Now this is either a slider or a split finger pitch that Bosio obviously holds on to too long. It looks like a hard breaking ball. And as you can see, once again, Surhoff has no chance of making the play, so Sox tie it up. We'll take them any way we can get them.
It's his second wild pitch of the day. Foul ball out of play to the right.
So that's one area the White Sox have really got to improve in, is moving runners from second to third, getting them to third base with less than 2 outs, and of course scoring them from third once they get there with less than 2 outs.
Chris Bosio now, nobody on, 1 out. And he's ahead of the count on Fletcher, a ball and 2 strikes.
Oop.
A little high.
Got some
Ball 2,
action.
strike 2.
Excuse me, Jim, we've got some action in the Milwaukee bullpen. Got a left-hander, Tony Fossas, throwing, and Chuck Krim, a real fine right-hander who's been used in middle relief, actually as a setup man. There you see him, for Danny Plesac, their closer.
A high drive, left center field. And Glenn Braggs gets over to make the catch. So Fletcher hit the ball hard, but into no man's land at Comiskey Park. You really got to hit one to get it out that way.
Yeah, you really do in that area, that 409 sign. There you see Scotty coming back to the dugout. That would have been enough to score Ozzie, certainly from third base. One thing you got to consider right now, we're in the 5th inning. How long can these starters go in this with that shortened spring training?
Calderon takes a strike. Greg Walker is on deck. A game that was held up for about 45 minutes today has turned into, at this point anyway, a fine pitching duel. A 1-1 tie in the home 5th. Calderon hits that one out of play, off to the right. 2 strikes the count. Calderon got a base hit in the 3rd and stole a base. Right in on his fist. Still 2 strikes.
Here's a situation now with 2 out, nobody on. This is where Calderon's got to take a shot at maybe hitting one out of the ballpark, or at least going for an extra base hit, trying to get the 2 second base with 2 out here.
Ball 1, strike 2. Bosio today with 1 strikeout, 1 walk. His control problems have come via the wild pitch. He's had 2 of them, and 1 led to the run here in this inning. Good stop by Surhoff. 2 balls, 2 strikes. After a trip to Milwaukee this week, the White Sox will be back home for the weekend against the Cleveland Indians, and we'll have it for you on Channel 9, the first game of that series on Friday, 1:30 Central Time. The 2-2 to Calderon, lined into right, and Rob Deere was right there for it. So the White Sox are retired in the 5th, but they come up with a run to draw even at 1. This is Jim Durham with Tom Pashorek back at Comiskey Park, where the lights have been turned on. The White Sox and Brewers tied at 1, and while there is a pitcher's duel going here, that's not the case in New York today. Pittsburgh Pirates leading the Mets 12-3 in the 9th. Jim Leland has to like his club today.
Yeah.
We talked with him a week or so ago in Florida, and he was really high on his ball club. And if opening day is any indication, with good reason.
Well, he likes their starting lineup. Pitching is the only problem that he was anticipating. Of course, they bombed Dwight Gooden today, so that's a good sign for them offensively.
Surhoff leads off for Milwaukee here in the 6th inning. Pushes the bunt, foul. Melito Perez has been outstanding. He's been able to bring to opening day today the kind of success he was having at the close of '89, when he won 4 of his last 5 decisions. Strike 1 pitch to B.J. Surhoff. Up high. 1-1.
You know, B.J. Surhoff to me is like a mystery player. He's a very gifted athlete. He runs extremely well for a catcher. Can do a lot of things. Actually can steal a lot of bases.
It's a fly ball. Foul. Out of play. Robin Ventura giving chase.
But you know, Jim, since his rookie year in 1987, when he hit .299, 68 RBIs.
It's been a slide for him since then, hasn't it?
245 in '88, and last year only 248. But he can run, though. He has stolen as many as 21 bases in a season from a catcher. That's pretty darn good, and that's why he's sitting in that number 2 spot in the lineup.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. Strike 3 call. Surhoff called out on strikes to open the 6th. 5 strikeouts for Perez.
Tom Trebelhorn doesn't like that call. Surhoff didn't either, but watch the split finger pitch. It looks like it's starting at him, and look at the movement going away. See how he flinches, catches the inside corner, and Carlton Fisk does a nice job of framing that pitch on the inside corner, so there's 1 out.
Robin Yount, the batter, in the 3rd when Perez struck out Yount. That was the biggest strikeout for him of this day, because he was up there after they had scored their run. Surhoff was in scoring position. And Perez was able to get out of the inning by striking Yount out. Ball 2, no strikes.
Look at that. 5th youngest in Major League history to reach 2,500 hits. I'll tell you what, if he keeps playing as long as we think he can, he should approach that 3,500 to 4,000 hit area, which is incredible.
Well, he's got a great count here. 3 balls, no strikes.
Oh, I think he'll have the green light here. Dave Parker on deck. He's a disciplined hitter, so I take my chances letting him hit 3-0. Oops.
Ball 4. Melito Perez issuing a 1-out walk to Yount here in the 6th. That's the first base on balls that Perez has given up.
Now, he's been ahead of most of the hitters that he's faced this afternoon. He's starting to scurry in that White Sox bullpen right now. So we'll see who is getting up there in a hurry, because Dave Parker, very dangerous. He just missed one his last time up, hit a fly ball to deep right center. He was out, but he did get he's had 2 very good swings this afternoon off of Melito Perez.
Fastball a little bit outside. Oh, it was a strike. I'm sorry. 0-1.
And we've got the Pope up there, Don Paul, right-hander throwing in the White Sox bullpen, and a left-hander as well. Could be Radinsky or Patterson.
Oh, 0-2 as Parker nubs that one off. Robin Yount returning. The hit and run on that one.
Yount always a danger to steal, too. He can steal 20 to 30 bases during the course of the year, and he has done so consistently throughout his brilliant career. But with Dave Parker, you don't really want to steal that often because you don't want to take the bat out of his hands, number 1, and take away that hole between first and second. You see Carlos Martinez holding the runner on Robin Yount.
That one gets away from Fisk, and now Yount is down to second.
Melito had 12 wild pitches last year, and you can see the danger of the split finger pitch with runners on base. Yount gets in scoring position with excellent speed. He can score easily on a single right now. And what it does, it takes away the double play opportunity for the White Sox in this situation. There it is, split finger in the dirt. Very tough play. I'll tell you, that ball spins funny too. Usually kind of kicks to the right, as you can see right there. Fisk having no chance. So Parker with the RBI opportunity, and you might want to pitch. Well, of course, there's 2 strikes on him. You want to pitch around him. Ooh, that's nasty.
That keeps the count at 1-2 strikes.
Parker's got to be real happy he just made contact, because that's as good a split finger pitch as Melito's thrown all afternoon.
Rob Deere is on deck for Milwaukee.
They call him the Cobra because of the way he coils up there at the plate. Kind of the way he runs around the bases too. It takes him about a half hour to get around, but nobody's ever approached him on that.
It also has to do with that lethal swing he's got.
Yeah.
Ball 2, strike 2. Melito Perez, who had the first 2 strikes against Parker. Now the count is square.
Oh, he's been a clutch hitter, yeah.
Yeah, just barely under 300 with runners in scoring position.
That's how you drive in 100 runs.
Here's the 2-2.
Oh, that's a good pitch.
Hit back to the pitcher. Perez runs it down. Yount takes third, but the White Sox get the put out on Parker.
Another excellent split finger pitch by Melito Perez. So he dodges a bullet right there, but he's got the dangerous Rob Deere up there. And as Jim mentioned earlier, you just never know what this guy's going to do. When he gets hot, Rob Deere can be as good a power hitter as there is in baseball. But when he's not, he can strike out a lot for you.
He has once today. He struck out in the 4th.
I think Rob Deere is going to be pressed to hold that starting position because they've got an outstanding rookie in their organization who made the team. Greg Vaughn came up last year and did very well for the Brewers. So Rob is going to have to hit the plate.
0-1. The White Sox and Brewers were held up today because of rain. But since the game began about 2:20, no rain this afternoon, although rain is still in the forecast here in the Chicago area. Ball 1, strike 1, the count on Rob Deere.
That was an interesting graphic just up on the board. Hitting only 200 with men in scoring position and 2 outs. That's the toughest run in the world to score. 2 out, try and get that big hit.
Robin Yount carrying the go-ahead run. The 1-1 pitch to Deere.
Oh my.
2 strikes. He got him with a splitter, it looked like, didn't it?
Oh yeah, great pitch. Man, a good job by Fisk to keep that ball in front of him. A lot of pressure on the catcher in this situation too. Look at it. See the delivery? Ball just drops out of sight. I think Rob Deere missed that pitch by at least 1.5 feet.
So Perez has him set up for a possible strikeout. Here's the 1-2. Got him. Second time in the game. Perez has struck out Deere. That's 6 strikeouts for him. And the White Sox and Brewers are still tied here at Comiskey, 1-1.
For great personal service and low everyday prices, check the lineup at your neighborhood True Value hardware store, where you can choose this Green Thumb shovel or bow rake as the April True Value of the month. If you weren't born with a green thumb, now's the time to acquire one. This round point shovel and welded steel rake are made to last and last. And they're each just $6.99 in April, where you see the banner at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Ready to go to the home 6th. And there are some changes made both ways. The Milwaukee Brewers have a new pitcher, a left-hander. Tell us about him, Tom.
Tony Fossas, he was 2-2 last year, did a nice job for the Brewers as a long reliever. 3.54 was his earned run average. He pitched in a lot of ball games, 51, had 1 save. He walked 22, struck out 42 in 61 innings. So good hits to innings pitched ratio. He's one of those crossfire left-handers. He's very, very difficult to pick up from the left side of the plate. So right now, Jeff Torborg's going to pinch hit for Greg Walker, and he's going to go with the big guy from Gary, Indiana, Ron Kittle.
Ron Kittle, who got the nice ovation. 40,008. That's the attendance today. Kittle, who had that super season working early last year, hits the first pitch and pops it up into shallow right center, and Billy Bates, the second baseman, takes care of him. That'll bring up Fisk.
And Kitty didn't waste any time. He got a good pitch to hit, but he just got under that one.
Carlton Fisk has played both sides of the field today offensively. He doubled into the left field corner, and he singled down the right field line his last time up. Hits that one right back to Fossas. And so Fisk is retired for the first time today.
Fossas making it look easy. 2 pitches, 2 outs. He's got that herky-jerky motion. He's also tough to pick up from the right side of the plate. He's about a 30-year-old rookie, I think, last year. He's 32 years old. Has about a year of experience at the major leagues. He pitched some with the Texas Rangers in '88. Had no record of .476 earned run average that year.
And he's got a chance today, if he gets Martinez, to get the White Sox in order for the first time since the first inning. Grounded down to third, and Sheffield has it. And that's exactly what happens. The White Sox go 3 up and 3 down in the 6th, and after 6 full, this game's still tied at 1. Scott Radinsky, who caught the eye of everybody in Sarasota, is making his big league debut.
And Radinsky may have the best arm in the White Sox organization. There you can see his numbers at A-ball last year at South Bend. 7-5, 175 was his earned run average, appearing in 53 ball games, 31 saves. Gave up only 21 runs in 61 2/3 innings. Great hits to innings pitched, only 39, and look at the strikeout total. My goodness, 83 strikeouts in 61 2/3 innings. He's a power pitcher. He's got 2 great pitches. He's got the fastball that explodes on the hitter, can overpower most major league hitters, and an excellent breaking ball to complement that. Good control, too.
That's the thing that's interesting about him. A power pitcher, a lefty, normally doesn't have the kind of control this guy has.
No, they really don't. I could compare him favorably to Mitch Williams of the Cubs with control right now.
So he's on in relief of Perez. Melito Perez, who will not figure in the decision today, went 5 innings, gave up 4 hits, struck out 6, walked 1, and did throw a wild pitch.
Yep.
But a good outing for Perez.
Tremendous outing for Melito. 6 very strong innings. And the walk. One walk, and that's a key for him.
Little pop into shallow center. Ozzie Guillen runs it down to retire Brock.
I think Ozzie Guillen might be the best in the big leagues at going after pop-ups. He saves pitchers a lot of hits right there. Radinsky makes a great pitch in on the hands of Brock. There you see the jam sandwich. And Ozzie makes it look easy. Looks like a defensive back going after a interception. As you can see right there, makes the play easy. And that's it for Radinsky, huh?
Whoa, 1/3 of an inning to get the left-handed leadoff man. So he records a putout in his the first ever big league hitter he faces. He gets him on a pop fly into shallow center, and the White Sox now with a pitching change here.
Well, this may sound crazy, but to make a move like that, he did want to get Radinsky's feet on the ground and face in a confident area right there by going against the left-hander. Now Barry Jones is going to come in and pitch for the White Sox to the right-hander.
And we'll tell you all about Barry Jones, but first let's stop for this.
Barry Jones is the third White Sox pitcher and second in this inning this afternoon. 3-2 was his record last year. As you can see, he had a fine earned run average. 22 games is what he appeared in, and the reason for that is he had some elbow problems last year. He's healthy right now. Slimmed down version of Barry Jones, was throwing the ball very well in the last week of spring training, and he'll be on to face Glenn Braggs.
And a reminder here, a spectacular fireworks show sponsored by the Chicago Tribune will follow the White Sox-Indians game this Saturday at 7. Oh, Braggs hit with a pitch from Barry Jones. So the Brewers have a man on with one out.
Well, Barry Jones has a sinking fastball that will move in on right-handed hitters, and look at this. He wants to throw it inside, but he wants it on the inside corner. Actually got him in the back of the knee, looked like, in that calf area. So Braggs, who has good speed, is at first base, and that will bring up Edgar Diaz.
Radinsky, who got the out here in the 7th when he got Brock on a pop-up, and then Jeff Torborg made the move for the right-hander to work to Braggs.
I tell you, I would look for a play to be put on right here. I underestimated that. They do have a few guys on this team that can run, and Braggs is one of them. There's a slider on the outside corner.
1 strike to count on Diaz.
Diaz, obviously one of those pesky little hitters who will put the ball in play, and Braggs with good speed at first base, 17 stolen bases last year. Could put a hit and run on in this situation.
Runner holds, and Diaz fouls it off. 2 strikes to count.
Barry Jones is basically a 2-pitch pitcher. He's got the good sinking fastball, as Glenn Braggs' leg will tell you, and it can hurt. He throws a real heavy ball, and he also complements that with a hard slider. Sinker slider pitcher.
He's got a 2-strike count on Diaz. Double play ball to second. Fletcher gets the out, and Guillen's relay. Safe. Fletcher lost the tag on Braggs and then had to make the throw to get the lead man.
Yeah, the ball was not hit that hard. It was going to be a tough play to double up, and they almost did it, though. Scotty and Ozzie worked very well up the middle, as you can see. Breaking ball hit right at Fletcher. He goes for the tag, knows he can't get it, and that's just enough for Diaz to beat the throw.
Tie goes to the runner, as they say.
Yes.
Here's Billy Bates. I'll tell you what, Tom, for 2 teams that last year were at the bottom in fielding percentage in the American League, this has been a well-played game. Errorless baseball.
Yeah,
and does good pitching begat good fielding, or the other way around?
I think good pitching will do that for fielding. I really believe that. Melito did a great job keeping the hitters off stride. They didn't hit the ball that hard. Milwaukee hitters didn't. And of course, Bosio is a quality pitcher in his own right, too. If you don't hit the ball hard, you're not going to have that many difficult plays to make. But also, when the defense is making the plays, it gives the pitchers that confidence that they don't have to worry about them really messing things up for him.
Outside to Billy Bates, ball 1. Barry Jones has shown a pretty good move to first base for a right-hander, holding Edgar Diaz close. Martinez holding. The 1-0 pitch to Bates. That's a strike. 1-1. Well, if Jones can get out of this inning and keep the White Sox even, Ventura is scheduled to lead off for the Sox in the 7th. But with a left-hander out there for Milwaukee, Jeff Torborg may make a change there. Foul. A ball and 2 strikes on Bates.
That's an interesting point right there. I really wanted to know from Jeff in his show that he does weekly the situation. We know that Fisk and Guillen and Fletcher and Calderon are going to be everyday ball players, but the rest of the guys are pretty much interchangeable at this time. And it would appear, there's a throw over to first base, that the guy that is going best at that particular time will get more playing time, which stands to reason.
Barry Jones, elbow surgery last year. He was still able to put together 3 wins, 2 losses, and an earned run average of 2.37. Fouled off to the left. 40,008. We're told that it's the first crowd at Comiskey Park over 40,000 since 1986.
It's a great crowd here this afternoon. Weather not that bad since the start of the game. A little cool. Good baseball weather.
And being celebrated today, the 50th anniversary of Bob Feller's no-hitter opening day at Comiskey Park. How about that, to step out on opening day and throw a no-hitter? Bob Feller, opening day 1940, struck out 8 and walked 5 and gave up no hits.
And Bob Feller, I guess, was one of those guys that was capable of throwing a no-hitter every time he walked out to the mound. He just happened to do it on opening day, and that's the only no-hitter on opening day in baseball history.
That's right, and in reading some of the quotes about it, he said he had a terrible last outing in exhibition play. And you know what, Tom, the scores of the games on Saturday, the most recent played exhibition games were like the game you worked, 11-10, and a lot of high-scoring stuff.
Right. Pitchers are getting into that funk that they usually do at the end of spring training. Of course, it was a little bit earlier, and they usually go through 2 of those periods.
Jones, a pickup on Bates' ground ball, and throws him out. And now the fans at Comiskey Park will come to their feet for a 7th inning stretch. And we'll be back with a home 7th as the White Sox and Brewers are tied at 1. Robin Ventura leads off the 7th for the White Sox, so he's up there against the left-hander, and Fossas is in there for a strike. Ventura walked in the 2nd. Flied out in the 4th. Way outside.
Think he's tough to pick up from the left side of the plate? My goodness, he looks like he's throwing from the first base coaching box. Of course, Robin Ventura is a disciplined hitter, does not swing at many bad pitches.
The 1-1. Outside. Ball 2, strike 1. Fossas last season was interesting. He was much more effective at home in County Stadium than on the road. Swing and a miss. 2-2. His 2 victories came at home. His 2 defeats came on the road.
It's funny, too, because County Stadium, once it warms up, is a great hitter's ballpark. Look out.
Whoa. Barely missed inside, a little high. Ball 3, strike 2 on Robin Ventura. And hitting streak you talked about earlier, and Ventura walks for the 2nd time today. Check out some of the other action on opening day in the major leagues on the Miller Lite scoreboard. The Red Sox a winner today, 5-2 against Detroit. Kansas City and Baltimore, 6-6 in the 9th. Saberhagen started that game for the Royals. Seattle at California tonight. Toronto at Texas tonight for the opener. In the National League, of course, on Channel 9, the Cubs at home with Philadelphia. Pittsburgh hammered the Mets today, 12-3. Montreal is at St. Louis tonight. The Reds are in Houston this evening, and the Padres lead the Dodgers 1-0 early. Outside to Sosa, who was showing bunt.
Yep, and with a 1-0 count, You might want to take that off, maybe put a hit and run on. Jeff Torborg has shown a willingness to do that in spring training in his quest to manufacture runs. Let's see what happens here. Ventura does not have a whole lot of foot speed, but he is a very intelligent base runner. Jeff and Sammy Ellis.
The 1-ball pitch. That's in there. That's out of the strike zone. Ball 2.
Aha, the plot thickens here. Sammy checking with Terry Bevington, the third base coach, and Tom Trebelhorn, Larry Haney. Commonly known as Mr. Haney.
Yes. Here's the 2-0. He pushes the bunt right at the first baseman, Brock. They don't get the play at second. Brock's throw was wide. I don't know if a good throw would have gotten him. It would have been close.
I think he had a good shot at getting him. Greg Brock, usually a very reliable fielding first baseman. As you can see, Sammy just bunts this ball too hard.
Oh, yeah.
He's got him.
Got him with a good throw.
With a
You're
good
right.
throw, but that's a bad one. I'll tell you, the ball hits in that grass, and you really don't know what the ball is going to do. It actually stayed down. It didn't come up for the shortstop Diaz, so we've got another bunt situation with Guillen up against the lefty. Nobody out, and runners at first and second.
And Guillen's bunt didn't hang up there long enough for Sheffield.
Nope. And while we have a moment, I'd like to welcome one of our great sponsors, the good guys from Dodge. They're the guys with the white hats, and if you want a great deal on a Dodge car or truck, just stop by one of our many locations in the Chicagoland area.
The White Sox with their first 2 men on here. Ozzie Guillen scored the White Sox run. His leadoff triple in the 5th.
Look how shallow Brock is playing. Look, he's right next to him. He can shake hands with Guillen.
Ball 1, strike 1.
What do you think, Jim? Good time for the old butcher boy trick, huh?
Try for a little chop right by the first baseman.
And don't think El Capitan's not thinking about that either. Jeff says if you do it, I'll kill you, but
El Co-Capitan.
Yeah. If it doesn't work, he might be Al Ex Capitan.
Guillen waiting on a 1-1 from Fosses. Right in front of the plate, and Surhoff has the play at third. Robin Ventura took Sheffield right out of the play.
Great slide. I'll tell you what, they got a chance at a double play if it's not for Robin Ventura right there. Jeff Torborg realizes that too, and he congratulates him on an excellent slide. Ozzie just gets that ball right out in front of the plate. They had time for 2. Replay will show that right out in front of the plate. See, Ozzie's running hard, but Sheffield catches the ball like a first baseman, as he should, to minimize the length of that throw. Good slide here by Ventura. My goodness, that's good. And it's a clean slide, too. No complaints there.
So it's up to Lance Johnson. Strike called. Fletcher will be up there next. White Sox in a stretch here in the batting order where a lot of left-hand hitters have come up against Fosses. Ventura coaxed a walk out of him to start it. And now Johnson trying to deliver, and he fouls it out of play.
It really shows you that Jeff Torborg is committed to Lance Johnson, because I'd be thinking in terms of Dave Gallagher in a situation like this against the lefty. Of course, that would put the ball in Tom Trebelhorn's court then, to see if he would want to go with the right-handed pitcher, probably Chuck Krim.
There is activity in the Brewers bullpen.
And it is Krim.
It is Krim.
The Krim de la Krim.
Here's a 2-strike pitch. Fosses steps away. Sosa the runner at second. Guillen at first. 1 out. Here we go. It's a fair ball. And it's going to roll dead and fair. A 45-foot base hit for Lance Johnson.
I'll tell you what, you couldn't have rolled that ball any better than that down the third baseline for a base hit. Well, he really tied up Lance in a knot. Johnson comes out ahead on that one, and that'll give Scott Fletcher an RBI opportunity. I'll tell you what, I'd look for Trebelhorn to bring in a pitcher here. Look at it. It's a fastball out over the plate. He just chops it right down the third baseline, and there's not a play for anyone. No chance.
Thank you, Roger Bossert.
Hey, what? Rogers got that infield grass shorter than it's ever been. He said 7/8 of an inch. I don't know if he's got a ruler out there and he goes out and measures every blade of grass, but
well, I know
that's what it is.
His slant up the baseline was perfect for that ball.
I'm really surprised that Trebelhorn's not bringing the right-hander here. You got Calderon. You got 4 right-handed hitters in a row.
Time.
How many pitchers are they carrying? They're carrying at least 11, probably 12. Milwaukee is, and you got that real good right-hander in Krim warming up. I'm just really surprised he's going to go with Fossas.
Strike call to Fletcher.
At this point in the season, Jim, like Jeff Torborg did when he took out Radinsky last inning, play it 1 out at a time.
Yeah, you're right. The White Sox were able to threaten now through a stretch in which they had a lot of left-hand batters up there. Outside ball 1, strike 1.
And now we're coming back to righties. We got Fletcher, Calderon, Kittle, Fisk, Martinez before you get to Ventura again. So I'm sure Jeff Torborg likes this situation.
1 ball and 1 strike to Scott Fletcher.
It's fun to second guess the other manager.
That's the way it is when you sit up here.
You ever second guess Phil Jackson?
Oh, no.
A lot bigger, isn't it?
Here we go. 1-1. Fly ball. Right field. Deere makes the catch. He's got a good arm, but not that good. The White Sox have the lead. Fletcher delivers with a sacrifice fly.
Well, that'll be an unearned run, but the White Sox don't care. That error on the bunt by Sammy Sosa would have made that the last out of the inning. So the Sox got a break this inning, took advantage of it, and a nice piece of hitting by Scott Fletcher to deliver the big RBI to put the White Sox on top here in the bottom of the 7th.
Sox aren't done yet now with Calderon the batter and Kittle to follow. Here's some of that right-handed power up there against Fossas. Calderon trying to drop the head of the bat on the ball in a bunt attempt. Strike 1.
That's a pretty good idea right there by Ivan. People would say, well, why would a power hitter like Calderon do that? Well, Ozzie Guillen's the runner at third base, and if he gets that bunt down with Sheffield playing almost in left field, it's a base hit and an RBI regardless.
Now the 1-strike pitch from Fossas. High. A ball and a strike. 2 outs. The Sox with runners at first and third. A run in. Hit hard, but at Bates. They get the force out at second. The White Sox are retired in the 7th, but not before they come up with a run to take the lead. After 7, 2-1 Chicago. Jim Durham with Tom Paciorek as today's game goes to the 8th. A 2-1 lead for the White Sox.
That's a beer head, isn't it?
It's been a long day at the ballpark for some of us. Barry Jones on in relief. Worked 2/3 of an inning in the previous inning, and there is Sheffield leading off for Milwaukee. It's ball 1. Boy, the little things, Tom, and we saw Ventura open that last inning for the Sox up there against the left-hand pitcher, get a walk, and then he made a big play at third base on a sacrifice attempt when they threw on to third to force him there, and he took Sheffield out on the play to keep him from getting the double play.
That could have been the key play of that inning. Look who just walked in the booth.
This
big 6'9"
Who is
relief
this
pitcher.
tall red-headed man with a White Sox hat on?
John Kerr.
Here's the 2-1. Ooh, boy, driven high and deep into right center field, and Sosa tracks it down on the warning track, right in front of the 382 sign. Sheffield gave that one a ride. We have the tallest Sox fan in the ballpark today. Long-time White Sox fan. Born and raised on the South Side, doing what all Southsiders would do on opening day right here at the ballpark.
I thought you might be lonely without me.
Yeah, you guys don't get to see each other often enough, do you?
Reds, I've been feeding the straight lines to Bashoric today. B.J. Surhoff, 1 out of 3. It's a shot.
Whoa.
Right at Fletcher. 2 out for Milwaukee in the 8th. So Johnny Kerr, how you liking it so far?
Well, I like it. Dave Parker's leading the league in steals so far this year.
You like those big guys, don't you? How's business over at Red Kerr's?
It's pretty good. Listen, Tommy, I just thought I'd come down and haunt you like you did when we were in Orlando.
And Atlanta. Did you get free tickets for this one, Red?
JD left my name.
The breaking ball is in there for a strike. I think John is here with a number of friends enjoying a hospitality of a suite, one of these sky suites. Barry Jones runs that one inside. A ball and a strike.
Well, I didn't think you'd get this game in with the weather, but it turned out pretty nice, didn't it, Tom?
Terrific. It's a good baseball day, really. The field's in great shape. Ball's carrying pretty well to the outfield, although the pitchers have been outstanding.
2 balls and a strike on Robin Yount. 6 hits for the Sox and 4 for Milwaukee. You are exactly right, and every pitcher so far has exhibited good control. Woo! Yount went chasing. 2-2.
Well, when do you two work again?
Together?
Together, yes.
Wednesday.
That's up to Jordan, whether we work or not.
High drive, right field. Sosa makes the catch, just in fair territory. 3 up and 3 down for Milwaukee in the 8th. And the White Sox are hanging on with a 2-1 lead.
It has been said that a good beer is like a good man. If you look beneath the surface, invariably, the best will come shining through. Smooth, never bitter Miller beer.
By that man, a Miller beer, the best comes shining through.
A new right-hander on the mound for the Milwaukee Brewers, Chuck Krim. Tom Pashore.
He's a fine reliever. He's been the setup man for Dan Plesac. 9-7 last year, 2.83 earned run average, and he led the league with 76 appearances. Go with 7 saves. He had 70 the year before to lead the league in that category also. He's excellent. He pitches a lot of innings, as you can see. 117 2/3 is a lot for a relief pitcher. Good control, 36. And he can strike you out as well. There you see it. So he has pitched in more ball games than anybody else in the American League in the last 2 years. He's a tough one. Sinker slider pitcher. Not big, but he's got excellent command of his pitches.
Kittle leads off for the Sox and takes a strike. So Fossas works 2 innings. He allowed a run, which was earned, we understand. That throw that went into center field was ruled a sacrifice on that play, not an error.
Well, obviously the official scorer, Bob Rosenberg, felt like Ventura could have beaten the throw.
Hit hard at Diaz, and Kittle is thrown out, leading off the 8th. So right now, as things stand, Fossas, I should say, stands to be the losing pitcher, and Barry Jones would get the win if things remain as is. Here's Carlton Fisk. A reminder, fans, that season tickets, single game Sky Suites, private picnic and patio parties, as well as group tickets are still available for the 1990 White Sox season. For more information, call the White Sox ticket office at area code 312-924-1000. Ball 1 to Fisk. Chuck Krim, 6 feet 190, 28-year-old. Hits the outside corner with a fastball. Count even to Fisk at a ball and a strike.
And he's coming right after these hitters. I always classified him as a sinker slider type pitcher, but he's bearing with that four-seam fastball coming right at the Sox hitter so far.
Broken bat. And Bates takes care of Fisk.
That ball had pretty good movement riding in on the hands of Pudge. So there's 2 outs.
Here's Carlos Martinez. Carlos Martinez 0 for 3. Fouled right at the plate, strike 1. The White Sox, who won 10 of 12 from Milwaukee last season, trying to get off on the right foot today on opening day. And the way this game has gone, it's reminiscent, and especially so if this lead holds up, of the go-go White Sox, who used to have to manufacture all kinds of runs just to score. There's a drive into straightaway center, and Yount hauls it in. So Martinez is retired. The Sox go in order in the 8th. They need 3 outs for a win. We'll be back with the 9th after this. The Red Sox come to Chicago April 17th and 18th, a 2-game series. Both games start at 7:05. For tickets, call Ticketmaster at 312-559-1212 or stop by the Comiskey Park ticket windows. A new pitcher for the White Sox.
Left-hander Wayne Edwards, a rookie. There you see his 89 numbers with the Sox in the last month of the season, appearing in 7 games. No record with the .368 earned run average. 7 1/3 innings, gave up 3 runs on 7 hits, struck out 9. He's got an excellent curveball. Good fastball, about major league average or slightly above. With movement, he can sink it, run it in on the hands of a right-handed hitter. And he also has a changeup. So Jeff Torborg, if my thinking holds true, I think he's going to let Edwards pitch to one hitter, and that's going to be Dave Parker, as he did Scott Radinsky, to kind of get these lefties' feet on the ground early on in their major league careers.
Parker today got a base hit, stole a base. He's hit the ball hard twice. Low and away. Ball 1. So Barry Jones works 1 2/3. He did hit a batter. Parker holds up. No, he doesn't. It's a strike, a ball and a strike.
Now there you see that good curveball that Wayne Edwards has. That's been a money pitch for him. Oh, yes. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Edwards has Parker set up.
Why not bring your family or group out to the Kingsford Charcoal Picnic Area under the left field bleachers at Comiskey Park before and during White Sox home games?
Whoa.
2-2.
There's a gutsy pitch right around the neck of Dave Parker. The fastball after throwing him 2 excellent curveballs.
I think he's got another one on the way.
Here comes another. A hook.
Parker fouls it behind the plate. Fisk has no play.
Well, Carlton Fisk knows how to set up hitters, and he's done an excellent job doing actually the thinking for the White Sox pitchers this afternoon. And that is a big key for these guys, to just kind of eliminate how you're going to pitch guys. Let Pudge do it. He's been around for so many years. And I don't think enough credit really goes to the catchers for calling an excellent game as well as the pitchers are pitching it.
Here's the 2-2. Fouled away again. First row of the upper deck, and it is misplayed. That's the first error of the day made by the fan.
Well, let's just keep it that way for this next half inning.
Again, the 2-2 to Parker.
Yes. Ooh, my.
Ball 3, strike 2.
Like Parker scared that pitch outside.
Wayne Edwards delivers. Got him. Jeff Torborg coming out to get his young left-hander, so Radinsky and Edwards did their jobs today, spotting up against these left-handed batters.
Well, it's a good idea by Jeff to get their feet on the ground. I'll tell you, here's a nasty curveball. 3-2. Parker completely fooled by it. As you can see, it's out of the strike zone, but he's looking for that number 1. He was sitting on a fastball right there, completely crossed up. So Edwards does a nice job in his 1989 debut.
And we'll return to Comiskey Park and have more after these messages.
For the first time in Chicago history, both opening day games will be carried by the same television station on the same day. This afternoon at 1, the last home opener in Comiskey Park. At 7, the lights go on at Wrigley Field. From opening day to opening night, the rites of spring begin on WGN. It's history you can watch. The Cubs and the Sox on Chicago's very own Channel 9.
Well, this is the way the script was written for the day. You get it down to 2 outs in the 9th with a 1-run lead, and you call on your ace relief pitcher, Bobby Thigpen, to come in and close it out. This is the way it's supposed to be, Tom.
Well, Jeff Torborg seems to have pushed all the right buttons this afternoon, and he's got his ace out there right now, which is a good situation. He wants to get the last couple of outs with Bobby Thigpen. 2-6 in '89 with a .376 earned run average, appearing in 61 games, 34 saves, one of the tops in the league. Gave up only 62 hits in 79 innings, walking 43 and striking out 47. So Bobby Thigpen with the excellent fastball. He doesn't really overpower hitters, but he breaks a lot of bats and he gets a lot of funny swings and a lot of balls hit off the end of the bat. So Jeff going with him, and a couple of tough outs in Rob Deere and Greg Brock to deal with as we look at Glenn Braggs and Tom Trebelhorn.
Both of these two batters, of course, with home run power. And one is all Milwaukee needs to draw even. Strike call to Deere. Rob Deere has struck out twice. Outside ball 1, strike 1. Thigpen, the 5th pitcher used by Jeff Torborg. Jeff Torborg used his 2 young lefties just to get a batter each. Radinsky did it and Edwards did it. Popped up. Out of play behind the plate.
Well, you know, Jim, if there's a downside as we look at Tom Trebelhorn in the dugout for the Brewers, if there's a downside, if the White Sox hang on to win this ball game, Dave Gallagher has got that consecutive game streak at 198 right now, and with 2 outs to go in this ball game, hopefully Dave will have that streak ended.
Dave Gallagher plagued by that broken finger in spring training. Dislocated finger, but he played with it.
Yeah, he did. He did that. But he can start another one. Everybody has played so well this afternoon from a defensive standpoint that you just don't want to. And plus, it'll be good for Dave to have a day off, really.
Deer barely alive. One ball and 2 strikes. Thigpen. 34 saves last season. Trying to nail it down for the White Sox on opening day. And the 1-2 pitch. He got Deer. Rob Deer strikes out for the 3rd time today.
Well, Bobby gets him right here with the slider. Look at the location. Pudge wants it down and away. There it is. It's a Picasso right on the outside corner at the knees. 2 out.
Greg Brock, the batter. The last hope for the Brewers. The crowd coming to its feet. Outside, ball 1. Brock is 0 for 3. He struck out against Perez. Fly ball, left field line. It's in the ballpark, and the out is made as Calderon makes the catch. So the final opening day in Comiskey Park history is a success as the White Sox turn back the Milwaukee Brewers 2-1 in front of a crowd of over 40,000 today. The first time the White Sox have played at home in front of a crowd that large since 1986. The scoreboard salutes this Sox win on opening day, and the White Sox, who had so many problems last year defensively, play errorless ball. Bobby Thigpen out of the bullpen to nail down the victory. 2-1 the final. We'll recap in a moment. For the White Sox today, 2 runs, 6 hits, no errors. Milwaukee, 1 run, 4 hits, no errors. The winning pitcher, Barry Jones. Tony Fossis, the loser for the Brewers, as the Sox win on opening day. We'll return and have more in a moment. White Sox baseball on Channel 9. The White Sox were brought to you by Miller High Life. By that man a Miller. The best comes shining through. By the good guys at Sandy McKee & Sons of Fox Lake, Illinois, where the spirit always shows. The Chicago Tribune. Get in the game. Pick up a trib. Coca-Cola Classic. Can't beat the real thing. True Value Hardware. For quality selection and personal attention, make True Value Hardware your store of first choice. And Phillips 66 Super Clean Premium Unleaded Gasoline. Pump up to the performance power from Phillips 66. Well, Tom, we said the script was beautifully written for today. The White Sox win on opening day. The rain held off for the entire game. Now it's raining again.
It was a beautiful ball game for the White Sox, and as you mentioned, they're covering up that field right now, Jim, but it was a great effort by the Sox as a whole. The pitching was superb. Melito Perez, 6 strong innings, and you got to give credit to Radinsky, Jones, Edwards, and of course Bobby Thigpen picking up his first save in the 1990 season. Great execution by the Sox all the way around. You just got to take your hats off to them.
A big crowd of over 40,000 thoroughly enjoyed itself as the Sox win on opening day. 2-1 the final for Tom Paciorek. This is Jim Durham saying good afternoon from Comiskey Park. In our final, the White Sox 2, Milwaukee 1. The next telecast on Channel 9, Friday afternoon. The White Sox at home against the Cleveland Indians this Friday, April 13th at 1:30 Central.